Hello and thanks for checking out TheChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts.
Hey everyone, checking in on Canadian MJ. Going to put out a USMJ video at some point tomorrow. We're going to look at CGC, Cron, ACB, APHA, TLRY, and TGOD, HEXO, OGI, TRST. So a pretty exciting day today for some bulls out there. CGC was a bit of a fake out and played it this morning. So we got our bull break, and the bull break was 44.40, the high of yesterday, and then 44.88. But we didn't get that follow through, and it gave me a red flag pretty early on. So first thing I was looking for, I was going to act on the signal of 44.40 breaking, because I can say that if we break that one resistance, the odds that we're going to break the next resistance of 44.88 increases very significantly. So I bought just before that break while we were still in the 44.30s, assuming that my order would help push through that resistance. And turns out a whole bunch of people had some really bad fills when that happened. I was one of them. My fill ended up being 30 cents higher than when I pushed that market buy button. I got filled at 44.65, and that was not a nice surprise to realize after the trade was complete. But entered on that bull break, and looking on the shorter term time frame, I was using the 2-minute to look at the consolidation after the pullback. And on the third candlestick here, this is when we see a red flag. At first, it's a normal healthy pullback, no red flags, low volume, a little bit of an uptick in volume. And then again, the fact that we gave back 80% of that initial bull move in the first 6 minutes of trading was a red flag to me. So rather than just sell and panic, what I did was wait for the bounce, because I know we're likely to hold the low of the day. The volume is not too significant for the bears, and the bull volume was pretty large. So I know that we're likely to hold the low of the day and then bounce and probably form a lower high and probably an equilibrium from there. So what I did was sell at 44.70 after not selling on the way up into strength. Rather than selling into weakness, I wait for that small bounce, sell there, and ended up being just above break even when I thought I had a solid little win on the day. But that's what bad fills can get you. Normally, it's not that bad on CGC. And I've done plenty of market orders, first thing in the morning. And this was just an example where it was a poor fill. So where do we stand now on the hourly time frame for CGC? Still bulls in control, but obviously, again, not the follow-through that the bulls wanted. Putting extended hours on, not really a whole lot changes, but we can tell that support down at 43.16 was defended at the low of the day multiple times. So that's a key short-term support level. Reminder that we have the U.S. names closed on Monday. Canada will be trading, so it's entirely possible we see a lower open below these supports if we see bearish action in Canada on Monday. In general, Canada open and US closed has been red days, and I don't have any stats or data. That's just memory of seeing it happen a bunch of times in the past couple years. So resistance is 44.10 and 44.10, 44.80, and then 45.20 as three resistance levels. So all in all, not too significant of a day. We did see a significantly higher close than we had yesterday. It just wasn't the strength that we saw on some of these names like Hexo and Cron, which we're going to look at in just a second. So pointed out recently, maybe a week ago, how Cron was looking towards all-time highs, and they're getting there a whole lot faster than anticipated. That's the kind of bull break you want to see for continuation. And again, I was highlighting the potential cup and handle pattern, and technically it's not the textbook definition because the right side is above the left side, and what you want to see is the psychological mindset of being unable to break resistance with the right side of the cup falling shy of the left side. Then we consolidate for the handle, and then we break out. But the psychology, is there enough for me with the clear break over 14? Look at that volume. That's the highest bull volume that we've seen since the deal was announced. That's massive. We're going to hit all-time highs pretty soon, it looks like. And that's something that, if you've been watching these videos for months and months, with technical analysis, we're not predicting anything, right? So I'm not saying Cron is going to be this price at this time, but we've clearly been saying that Cron is a lead bull and that APHA is a lead bear. And we've been saying this for months at this point, just noticing little difference when you're comparing everybody in this sector to the major peers, these 5 names. Cron has stood out as a bull against its peers, and APHA has stood out as a bear. That was before APHA had any short attack or any bearish news. That was before Cron had any deal or was close to all-time highs. It was just comparing these charts to each other. So that's a nice way to see it follow through long term. And that's, the benefit of doing this analysis every single day after the market closes. We can, track how does it play out. And it certainly played out really well for the Cron bulls. So here we are looking at all-time highs, 1530, and the Canadian ticker hit all-time highs today. So congrats to those bulls. No bag holders in Cron. So 1530, we got up to 1519. A little bit of a double top at the all-time highs, but bulls are going to look to break that level. I'm curious to see if the Canadian bulls keep buying tomorrow. Support right now we've got is 1445, 1459, and this was a play where this is one of the easiest plays in terms of quick scalps with larger capitals. But I was just watching, I was doing other things. I was making a crypto video and handling some other business, not trading. I was done trading for the day. And the $15 level was very clearly a key level of significant resistance psychologically and because there was a lot of shares on the ask. So we rejected from it. We double topped, rejected from it again. And then someone posted in the chat room, we're testing 15 again. So I pulled it up, looked at it, just filled out a market buy order, waited until the ask of $15 was chipped to a level that told me, okay, we're going to break it this time. So I just market bought 15 and then just flipped it right away. I didn't even wait for this move to play out. Literally seconds later, I sold it at 15.05, and that's, incremental. But if you're playing with large capital, that can be a few $100s depending on how much you're playing with. So that's the kind of trade. I used to do that in cryptocurrency all the time. Break a resistance and then just lock in profit instantly after, because you get that bull break and then you get market buy orders triggered on that bull break. So that gives the extra follow through push. So if you're buying at the break as it occurs, obviously the last thing you want to be doing is buying a big wall that's going to reject the price. But if you're confident it's going to break because you see a lot of volume taking out the ask, then you get that follow through once the break does occur. And in this instance, it was a quick little 1.3%. So congrats Cron bulls. They're in full control. Any consolidation on the daily, as long as we hold 1275, bulls keep complete control. And right now, Cron is the lead bull in this sector when you're taking both the technical analysis standpoint and fundamentals into perspective. It's clearly the lead bull. So obviously, it's got rivals with the fundamental side of things of CGC, but you look at CGC's weekly chart and how much resistance we have left before we would get to all-time highs here. And obviously, Cron is in a way better position, technically speaking. ACB, the dump continues. Not surprising because we closed at the low of the day yesterday. So we're looking for a daily higher low to be established. We're looking for the scales to tilt. So the scales being supply and demand. So right now, demand for shares is lower than supply, so we're pulling back. And once the supply dries up, once the sellers, anybody who's going to sell on this dilution news has already sold, then we're going to see the demand start to pick up, and then we're going to get our bounce. So the dilution was for US 723 was the price of the deal. And again, it's only potential dilution. They could potentially buy it back with cash, but the market prices it in to a certain degree as if it were dilution. So we have to change the hourly trend to form our daily higher low. And at this point, we have our low of 821, our high of an afternoon bounce attempt of 878, higher low trying to hold 821, and then we have to break 878 to change that hourly trend and give us our daily higher low. The amount of pullback that we've seen at this point, we can anticipate that once we find that higher low, we're going to bounce and set a lower high. Because of how much we've pulled back at this point, we would have to see a 15-20% move just to get back to resistance. So it's more likely than not that we would bounce and form a lower high, and we'll have a tightening range to be watching into the start of February, depending on how long it plays out. APHA, bulls showed up at the end of the day in a big way. So look at this volume out of nowhere. A lot of people think it's inside information. We've certainly seen that in the past, where some volume has been indicative of some leaks in the company potentially before news comes out. So that's a potential here. Look at the volume again, very significant. Support short term, we're looking at 859 and 840. Hourly time frame complete. Turnaround 887 and 889. Little double top at the high of the day. Bulls would like to break that level more convincingly tomorrow, or I should say Monday. But the hourly higher low is down at 840. So 840 is the most recent support. So just be aware that we will need to consolidate and form a higher low. And if no news comes out, Monday we might see some people take some profit and think, oh, I was wrong. We didn't get that news that I was thinking that volume was indicating. So without news before the open on Monday could lead to some short profit taking. But again, we'll look for support at 850. But again, we'll look for support at 859 or 840. So to change momentum on the daily time frame, bulls are going to have to make their way back to 955. Long way to go, but bulls will take it. There were no red flags on this pullback. Close at the high of the day, and if we can get back over 955, lack of resistance until the gap fill of 1030. TLRY. Clear bear break of the daily inside bars, and it's very clear to me at this point someone is selling their shares that became free trading. Whether or not, I don't know who it is, doesn't matter, but it's counter enough to what the sector and the market is doing on notable enough volume without any bearish news that it's clear someone is selling a lot of shares. So the inside bar bear break was at 82.56, and a lot of follow through on that bear break in terms of percentages, and pretty much 8% follow through move to the low of the day. So we're now looking down at $75. There's a gap at 71.94, and then the next support level is 67.77 as the next three levels to be watching. Hourly lower highs are keeping the bears in control. We had a little double top at 80.29 and 80.32. So 80.32 and 86.43 are two resistance levels. Before we get to the second half of these tickers here, I want to bring up an analogy that I was talking about with a friend, where I was comparing the current market environment and how strong the S&P 500 has been, how strong oil has been, which just headed to higher highs on the daily. Both of them still not topping out on their weekly lower highs yet. It's been the ideal market environment for the MJ sector to thrive in the past 3.5, 4 weeks. So my analogy was, you can have the same seed, or in this instance, the same company with everything else all equal. And if you take that same seed and you grow it in a greenhouse, or you take that seed and you throw it outside, obviously the one that's in the greenhouse and getting tending and everything that it needs is going to do much better than outside. It has absolutely nothing to do with the seed or the company. It has to do with the environment. So that's the same thing with stocks. The company, whether you're in a bearish market environment or a bullish market environment, is going to react extremely differently. The market cap is going to be different, the chart is going to be different, and the gains and losses are going to be different. So we are currently, again, in the last 3 weeks, we have been in a greenhouse for these companies, and they've been tended to every single day under the microscope and getting everything that they need. And when we start to pull back on the weekly time frame, again, we're going to anticipate that the weekly consolidation on SPY and on oil and on the market is going to be healthy to form higher lows. It's still going to cause everybody to pull back a little bit. So again, it's not there yet, and I keep giving the heads up that it's coming, but just be aware that we need to consolidate on the weekly time frame. So there's no FOMO on this weekly bounce on names like CGC. Obviously, very significant gains at this point. But if you are not in a position and you're looking for a long-term position, you want to wait for a little bit of longer-term weekly consolidation to establish a higher low. Things are still extended at this point, and we forget that because we get in this euphoria mode where everything's going great, and it can change just like that when we need to consolidate. So again, keeping an eye on SPY for those indications. And on the daily time frame, higher low trying to form here. So we had the low, high of the bounce, trying to form the higher low at 132. And bulls need to break 143 to see follow through. So it's tightening up, trading within this range the last 3 days from 132 to 143. And how this range breaks is going to give us short-term direction. We're either going to enter an area with a lack of resistance or head back down to test our low of 120. Looking at TGOD, we broke the daily inside bar bearish, so that tells us our daily higher low has not been established yet. Remember, we have to change that hourly trend, and we did not do it. Broke down to lower lows. Resistance right now is 288 on the hourly. So bulls need to hold 277 as the low, set a higher low, and then break 288 to start to shift this hourly momentum. 298 would be the next resistance level after that. So still consolidating on the daily, no major red flags, but the bulls want to form that daily higher low, the sooner the better. Hexo is also standing out as a lead bull in this space. Beautiful follow through. The inside bar broke bullish on increasing volume. We got follow through today, almost doubled the volume, closed at the high of the day. And if we break 720, we're looking back at all-time highs. So this is another name similar to Cron that is taking charge. But considering we're coming from the low, I would be shocked if we headed to that all-time high without seeing weekly consolidation. So 720 is a key resistance level approaching. Congrats to the bulls. This was a perfect bull flag. No red flags whatsoever on that consolidation. Right into continuation. And we're looking at 720 from here. Hourly support was established in the morning. That was down at 667. So anything above 667 keeps the bulls in full control. A little bit of a double top, 694 and 695. Bulls will want to break that first thing on Monday to get that continuation. And if we don't, then we'll have an equilibrium. So if we pull back from 695 Monday morning, we're going to pull back and look for a higher low compared to 667. OGI got really tight and gave a bull break, but didn't get the follow through. So Hexo and Cron broke and got follow through. CGC, OGI, some other names broke and didn't get follow through. They got a couple percent, but not as much as the bulls would be hoping for. So key resistance is 645 and 656, and the must-hold support short-term is 620. If we break 620, daily consolidation to form a higher low compared to 530 will be coming. And wrapping up with TRST, another name that didn't get a bull break. We had a bit of a double top, 846, the high of the last 2 days. 846, 851, and 860 are the clear resistance levels. We did establish a new support level, so the low of consolidation was 784 at this point. The bulls are hoping the higher low is forming at 806, and we have to break 846 and 851 to get this follow through. So on the 4-hour time frame, we can see this tightening range. Let's see if the hourly. So the hourly's got a nice equilibrium from just the past couple days. We got the high at 851, the low, lower high at 846, higher low. So hourly equilibrium looking to play out and give us a break probably on Monday or Tuesday. So that's where we stand. It's very easy to distinguish Hexo and Cron as some of the lead bulls in the space. APHA, definitely one of the lead bears on the daily chart comparatively, but in terms of short-term action, they had that bullish action. We'll see if news comes out. ACB is a lead bear in the short term due to the reaction to the dilution news, and we'll check in on the USMJ names tomorrow and see where they stand comparatively. Hope you have a good weekend. Hope you do some good things out there. And here's some more Iceland. We'll see you soon.